Well, good morning, open heart, and happy Sunday. I am glad to be the messenger today. Our July theme is the key, and my talk title today is The Keys of the Kingdom. And the text which forms the foundation for my talk today is Matthew 16:19. I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. And the purpose of my talk today is to remind us all and to encourage us to use the kingdom keys we have to be a beneficial presence on this planet, in our families, in our cities, in our communities where we work, and to live our best lives now. So let's talk about keys. What do keys signify? Well, keys signify access and authority. Just like when someone was given the key to the city, what they were saying to give them the key to San Francisco or Memphis, that you have access, you are welcome, we want you here in this city. And so just like your ATM is the key to your account, right? If you have some kind of weird activity on there, the first thing they ask you is, did you give someone your ATM card? Did you give them your code? Why? Because those are the keys to that banking institution's money and things. And so keys always signify access and authority. Years ago, a wonderful Pastor Jack, who was the pastor of the church that I went to as a kid, he told a story one time about keys. And he said that he had two sets of keys. The first keys were the keys to the church, and that he, as the senior pastor, had a key to every door at that church. If there was a door with the key that had a lock, he had the key. Now, other people had some of those keys. They were called the green men, and they were not aliens. They were the facilities men, and they wore green uniforms. But he said the manager or the director of that department had the same set of keys as him. So as the senior pastor and as the director of facility services, these two men had the same access and authority over the church campus. Now, he said there was another set of keys that he had to his house. So, of course, all his kids, Becky and Jack and Mark and Krista, all had a key to the house. But his beautiful and wonderful wife, Anna, had keys to everything in the house, as well as if they had any safes and things. But Anna also had a set of keys to the church. And it was his way of showing her honor by giving her that access and authority. And so keys open and they give you the power to act. And so the text that I'm using for this morning states that we have been given the keys of the kingdom of heaven, not the keys to the kingdom. We're already there. Heaven is not a place, as Reverend Beckwith says, not a place we're going to go to when we die. It is a state of consciousness. And in this verse, where Master Teacher Jesus says this, you have the keys of the kingdom, it begins, what is the beginning? To acknowledging or opening or embodying or walking into that kingdom. Because it's all around us. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. So it's already here. It's up to us to acknowledge, allow, make room for, embody, and then move in. So how do we begin that process? Well, the verses before Matthew 16:19, Jesus is with the disciples and he says, who do people say that I am? Well, some people say that you're Elijah or Moses or one of the prophets. There's probably people who are hating. But finally, Master Teacher Jesus asks those who've been hanging around him, who do you say that I am? And Peter's answer is basically, Namaste. The God in me recognizes the God in you. He says, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. I recognize in my divinity, your divinity. And that is the beginning of embodying and living out our citizenship of the kingdom of heaven. So now that we have that access and the authority by living in our divine self, recognizing our divine self, and acknowledging that divinity in others, how do we live it? What are the keys? How do we use them? So I want to go back to the first 6 months of this year because we had some awesome keys to the kingdom. The first one, January, new every moment. One of my favorite times of the church year is Lent, and leading up to Easter. And I love the 7 last words, one of my favorite traditional church services. And probably my favorite word from there is, you will be with me in paradise. Now, what is happening here is that this is the crucifixion of Jesus. He's being crucified between 2 other criminals because, of course, he's also being executed as a criminal of the state. And one of the criminals is like, dude, if you are magical, man, this is the time to do something magical and get us out of this mess. The other person who's being executed says, we deserve what's happening to us. But this man is innocent. Again, namaste. I see the Christ in you. And he says, sir, when you come to your kingdom, remember me. And Master Teacher Jesus responds, today you will be with me in paradise. It looks like 2 crazy men talking right now, right? You having the worst day of your life, being publicly executed, your family's being humiliated. And you say, today you will be with me in paradise, because our January theme, new every moment. That just as this now moment, that every moment is the capacity to be new. And Master Teacher Jesus knows that even on your worst day, there is a new moment ahead of you, and in which you can walk into newness, walk into wholeness, release what's behind you. And so that's one of the keys of the kingdom of heaven. Knowing that every moment is new, and to live new, to walk into the new. That means change and transformation, but being willing, open, and available to those new moments. The second key is living from the heart instead of the head. That's where I be. Yeah, have you ever had to apologize to someone? Or I have, and I say it was a mistake of the head, not my heart. But living from that heart chakra, it's right in the center. Below us, the root, sacral, solar plexus chakra, then the heart, and above it, the throat, third eye, and crown chakra. That the heart holds together that natural aspect of us and that spiritual aspect of us. And when we live from that place, we are living from that combination of heaven and earth, or as the tarot card, the magician, has them pointing up and down, that we are combining heaven and earth. We are bringing our spirituality through this human experience when we live from the heart. The next key is March saneness. So it's being sane in a crazy world. And I'm just saying. I love TikTok. My daughter Lily will tell you that I'm addicted to TikTok. And so there's this man that goes to rallies for the former president, and he talks to the people there. And I'm just going to say they be crazy. I'll say it in a loving way. They be crazy. Okay. So one lady had on a t-shirt that said Trump Kennedy 2021. So the man asked, who's the Kennedy? He said, well, it's John F. Kennedy Jr. He's not dead. He's going to come back and run the government with Trump. And I was like, cray. But in a crazy world where people are disconnected from the truth of who they are, our key to the kingdom of heaven is to move in the sanity that we are one, that everything we need, want, or could have is already ours, and that we don't see with these human eyes. We see through the divine. Again, activating, connecting third eye chakra and crown chakra, that we choose to stand in the sanity of spirit, in the sanity of oneness, in the sanity of we are healed, whole, and perfect. The next key, the promise of renewal, that we are people of cycles. We have the seasons: summer, fall, winter, spring, new moon, full moon, which is planting and releasing. The years, we got lunar calendars and sun calendars, that we are people of cycles. And that even when things appear to be dead, nothing is growing. Just like the grass out here in Atoka, and it happens probably in Memphis too, that in October all of a sudden it's all yellowish and dead. And then in March you start seeing those little shoots come, and the next thing it's green, and now we got to have someone come and mow the lawn. There is always the renewal from, death is only the beginning, as they say in the Mummy movie. That death is the beginning. What appears to be dead in the winter, there's really the hope of renewal. Not just the hope, but there hasn't been a year yet that spring has not followed winter. There is the promise that even on the darkest day, when all appears to be lost, hope, renewal is on the way. And it's that mindset that is the key of the kingdom. And in May, we had narratives. What is the story versus the truth? Many of us have a family story, but is it true? The other thing about my addiction to TikTok is I love watching the conspiracy theories and the history and how things that we were told. Lily will tell you, I freaked out when I knew George Washington had wooden teeth. That's why he never smiled. Now, British people have horrible teeth from all that tea and chocolate. That's just a known fact. But when she told me that he actually wore teeth from his slaves, I wigged out. I was like, what? Why would you even lie about that? Why would that be a secret? Of course, right? They don't want, trying to make him like a happy, nice man. He's honest. He cut down the cherry tree. But so all these stories that we've had, now the truth is rising, and that's also for us. We got to release the story and let the truth of our magnificence, the truth of our marvelousness, the truth of our capability and capacities to be the divine, a radiant light of God, to be a change maker, a healer. That is the truth that needs to rise up. We need to flip that script and write the true story. And then living by faith. What is our default? Are we a person of faith or a person of fear? You're a person of faith or you're a person of lack? Are you a person of faith or you're a person of hatred? Right? What is your default? Living by faith and not by sight. And that's not like, many of you know Gail was diagnosed with a form of cancer. So living by faith is, I know personally God has healed my physical body. He has healed my mother's physical body. So we like, this ain't nothing for God. But so that faith is, go on to the doctor, take your medicines, but we are seeing you as healed, whole, and perfect. We are praying and knowing that God is able to do exceedingly abundantly more than we can ask or think. That, yes, the doctor's got the diagnosis, but living by faith, we have the prognosis. And then this month, the key. What good is having a key to your house if you just stand out there but you never use it? You have a beautiful, beautiful house full of everything that you love, everything that you want, everything that gives you the best life, but you never go in. The keys of the kingdom are for us to use and to invite others into the kingdom by how we live, new every moment. We live from our heart. We appear to be sane and are sane in a crazy world that even when people know, she down, but look, she up again. And that we're able to tell the truth. We live by faith and we open doors and we boldly walk through. The keys of the kingdom are in our hands. Let us use them as this world is hungry for change makers, hungry for transformation. We have those keys. I end our time together with this quote. In oneself lies the whole world, and if you know how to look and learn, the door is there and the key is in your hand. Nobody on earth can give you either the key or the door to open except yourself. And this person's name is hard to pronounce. Jiddu Krishnamurti, the sage, is who that quote is from. Take the keys, go on in, live your best life. I love you all. Namaste.